guys, I thought we could make some springtime bunnies here. They're going to be textured with these flowers in the background. We're going to be learning how we can paint a little bit with some markers. I want to talk about the texture that's going to go into our bunnies. Let me move him closer so you can see him a little better. When I give him these little marks like this, I create something called implied texture. A lot of you had already reached the unit on texture and you knew the difference between real texture and implied texture. Real texture is when you can touch something and feel like, I can feel my hair is soft. I can feel that it's got a bunch of little strings, that kind of thing. That's real texture. Our bunny, when we touch him, he still feels like the piece of paper, even though we've put in all these little marks to make him look like he has some hair. That's implied texture. You can even see implied texture in this large artwork behind me, where the flowers are implied that they're thin and they're soft. So we're going to be working on that implied texture today in both our flowers and our bunny while we create a fun spring artwork. The supplies that you need for today's spring drawing are a piece of paper, a pencil, a black crayon, markers, they can be thin or thick, and a cup of water and a paintbrush. To begin, we're going to actually draw our rabbit on the page. We're going to talk about some of the shapes that are in this. There's some geometric shapes, some organic shapes, and you're going to have to kind of create some of those organic ones on your own. We're going to start with a geometric shape, a circle, but we're actually going to cut it in half and make it a semicircle. So I'm going to come about in the middle of my page. I'm going to make a semicircle right here. Probably a little bit more than a semicircle, a little bit further, but that's as far as I'm going to go. Then I'm going to take another kind of semicircle down at the bottom, but it's going to be more of an oval shape, so maybe a semi-oval. It's going to come around like this so that it makes my bunny look like he's got some chubby little cheeks. Next, I'm going to go ahead and do his body down here. It's just two simple lines. One right here and one right there. Then I'm going to add on some ears. The ears are a very organic shape. We don't even necessarily have a name for it. You can just make your ears as best you can. I'm going to do one line. It kind of rainbowed out right here and did in a point and bring the other one back in. Your ears could be floppy, they could be pointy. It's up to you. Not all bunnies' ears are exactly the same. We've got different kinds of rabbits out there, so they can have different ears. And then we're going to come in and make the face here. We're going to put a circle right here, which is going to be where his nose sticks out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead, make my circle here, just like that. And then I'm going to put a little triangle in the center where his nose is. And then we're going to add a little piece down here that's going to make his mouth. So I'm going to draw just a line straight down, just like that. And I'm going to add a U right here. I'm going to add another one on the other side, right here. It's almost like a double fish hook or something. So you're drawing your line straight down and then those U's straight from that triangle. Now our bunny has his mouth, his nose, and we still need to add his little eyes. These are going to be ovals, which are right here. You're going to want 2 of those. Try to keep them as close to the same size as you can, but if they're a little off, that's all right. So we've got a lot of these geometric shapes like our ovals, triangles, circles, half ovals. We're going to add in 2 more lines which are going to help us with our texture part of this project. They're going to come from like the center of the ear down to the nose. One there and one over here. Center of the ear down to the nose. They leave a little bit of space in between. When we add our texture lines, this is going to help this look like it stands out so that his nose is coming out towards us a little more. Time for our black crayon. We're going to trace our entire bunny in the black crayon, and then we're going to start adding those texture marks in there. Remember that our bunny isn't going to have real texture. We're not going to be able to touch it and feel that he's soft, but he's going to have implied texture, meaning that the artists you all added something to make him look like he should feel soft or hairy or fluffy. So I'm just tracing my lines on all these lines with my black crayon. All right, now we get to start adding in our texture marks. So our texture marks are just going to be short little black lines throughout the rabbit that give him the idea that he's got hair on there. I'm going to start up here with my ears. They're just going to be straight lines that come straight out from his head like this, just in little rows. All right, and then down here on the face, we're going to add them, but they're going to go in different directions. So this skinny part right here that we created, they're just going to be straight up and down, like this. Then, in this part, they're going to come out like a circle. So I'm going to start right here at my triangle nose spot and make these come out almost like whiskers. But they're going to come out all the way around, and then there's going to be a second layer coming out around them. Now around his eyes, I'm going to do that same kind of thing. I'm going to give him some little pieces. They're kind of going to look like eyelashes around his eyes, but they go all the way around. You can make some really short if you want and some longer. It's up to you. It's your bunny. And then on his face, we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up with more of these straight marks like here. So his nose and his eyes should look a little different with those circle radiating lines. Some of you might remember that word from some of our projects. And then lastly, we're going to do those straight lines down here at the bottom. They're going to be a little more spread out because his body's a little further away from us. His head is a little closer. All right, now we've got our bunny on here. You can color in his eyes as well and give him black eyes. You could make him have any color eyes that you want, actually. I like to leave a little spot in mine that makes it look like he's got a little bit of sun reflecting off his eyes. So I leave a little bit of a white spot in there. All right, now we're going to use our markers to add in those flowers. So I'm going to pull out a purple marker, maybe. There we go. Purple marker and a green marker to start. I'm going to have a purple flower just behind my bunny's head. And I'm going to draw it just by putting a circle right here. And then just petals out around it. These can be round, they can be pointy. They're like making an N or an oval coming off your flower. Now, I'm not going to color it in. I'm going to leave it just like that. Then, I'm going to take my green marker and give it kind of a squiggly little stem, maybe a leaf if I want. Remember, you can add as many flowers as you want. And then, this is where it gets really fun. We only made the outlines because we're going to use our cup of water and a brush to spread out our markers. All of our markers are water-based, so when we take a wet brush and run it along those markers, it's going to start spreading that color. Now my paper is really thin, so right now my paper looks really wet and you can't see the color spreading very much yet, but it'll spread. You just have to let it dry and then it'll start to spread out there. Filling those in a little. Now if you want a color to be a little thicker, a little darker, you might want to do like a couple rows of a color inside.